And hello fellow Tankers, Space Bandit here with another episode of World of Tanks, and today we are back with episode of Forgotten Tanks, and today we'll be looking at IS-6 Tier 8 Soviet Premium Heavy Tank that has preferential matchmaking. That's correct, it plays only up to Tier 9. But this tank is forgotten because there are so many better options at Tier 8, especially when it comes to Soviet heavy tanks like Defender, like Hydra for instance, which is IS-6 as well, except with beefed up hull armor and beefed up penetration values on both standard and premium shells. Not to mention Fatherland or Stockade, there are so many options, right? Anyway, today we're looking at IS-6, and let's take a look at the stats quickly for this tank. The armor itself is not bad because this tank is kind of sloped in a funny way. So the turret armor is 150 millimeters only, but because of the sloping, the effective armor is a little bit better. The same goes for the hull armor, which is 100 millimeters. But one thing that I found notorious with this tank, especially tier 8s with good penetration values, they can just auto aim at this tank and they will hit the driver's hatch consistently, dealing damage and penetrating. So yeah, in today's meta this tank is not the greatest. That's why you don't see it on the battlefield anymore, even though it's preferential matchmaking tank. But look at those penetration values, these are laughable, to be honest. Standard shell is AP with penetration of 175 millimeters. That is nuts, that is horrible. I mean, you won't be able to fight your own tier, pretty much, heavy tank. It does have 390 alpha, which is quite nice, to be honest. But if you get Hydra, for instance, Hydra has 440 alpha with standard penetration of 225. The only difference is in Hydra you are going to be fighting tier 10s, while in IS-6 you will not. Now, the biggest beef that I have is with the premium penetration. Premium penetration on this tank is 217 millimeters. Even with premium penetration, you will not be able to fight tier 8s or Soviet tier 8s at your own tier frontally. It's just not possible, because with 217, even if you hit weak spots of, let's say, Fatherland or IS-3 or Hydra or Defender, there's no way you're penetrating these tanks. So there's something definitely wrong here, and I think Wargaming needs to take care of this aspect. At least the premium round on this tank needs to be bumped at least to 250, I would say, to make it somewhat playable, because otherwise right now it's just a pile of steel driving around and no one really cares about this tank. Now, this tank was an excellent premium back in the day, about 5 or 6 years ago. That tank was amazing because the meta itself wasn't overpowered, and this tank did well, especially, you know, at the tier that it's at with preferential matchmaking. Nowadays, not so much. Other stats, aim time of 3.4 seconds, which is again very, very bad. But just like any other, you know, Soviet tank, the aim time is not the greatest, so you can't really complain about that. Accuracy of 0.46, again, nothing spectacular. 6 degrees of gun depression, it's alright, and it's on par with other Soviet tanks at this tier. Reload of 11.7 seconds is standard as advertised, but I think my reload is slightly over 10 seconds, as you'll see in my gameplay. So today I have 2 games for you guys. One is a little bit older, from Scorpion Pass. Second is a bit newer, just recent game that I played. So I hope you'll enjoy both of these. So without further ado, let's jump into the gameplay and see what's going on here. So if you've seen me playing on Scorpion Pass before, you've seen me going into the central location, and like I mentioned to you, central location is excellent because it gives you shots all around the map pretty much. It's a key location on this map, but I don't like coming here alone. So since I wasn't coming here alone, there was another heavy tank that went with me, which unfortunately decided to die, because once you get off that ridge going northeast, you're getting yourself in trouble. You have to stay up here where I was. Now, I noticed this medium tank here, the FV4202. This is going to be interesting engagement because he can pen me at will, pretty much. He's got enough penetration to just auto-lock on me and pen me. And you'll see that happening here. He's just auto-locking me and penning me. The first shot he penned me in the hatch. Second shot he just pens me in the hull, like anywhere, pretty much. Anywhere. And I have to aim to hit this guy. Now we have this LTTB trying to round us, but we're going to keep our frontal armor towards him. Luckily, I don't think he's shooting premium rounds, so I get away with murder over here, to be honest. But we're going to try to push behind him, but then I noticed this J-Panther here that put a shell into us earlier, so we're gonna claim our revenge right there. We put a big shell into him through his top plate because of the angle. Let's see if we can do that again. We should be able to just poke out and hit him again. There we go. And he decides to disengage, I think. He doesn't want to fight us anymore. Now that's a scary big gun, to be honest, J-Panther. But we managed to avoid those shells. As you can see, my loadout in this tank is 5 standard shells and 25 premium shells. I know it's crazy, huh? But I mentioned to you that penetration on the standard round. And in many cases in this tank, you get drawn easily into tier 9 matches, right? So basically, in tier 9 matches and versus your own tier, you have to use premium rounds. Even at 217 millimeters of penetration, you won't be able to pen some tanks, especially at tier 9. Heavy tanks at tier 9, good luck with that. So we see this Churchill here. He's in the no man's land. We put a finishing shot into him. And now, what we have to do, there's only 4 minutes left, right? And this is the assault mode on this map, so we actually have to cap to win. The opposing team is defending. So at this point I decided, you know what, none of my teammates are willing to cap, I see, so I think I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to climb up and cap. Now, on the opposition team, the 2 remaining tanks, there is a tier 8 heavy tank, German heavy tank, VK4502, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And also tier 8 light tank, LTTB. So we have to be really careful, especially LTTB is dangerous. I tried to shoot at him earlier in the game and I couldn't hit him. And how much health does he have? Oh, he's on a sliver. So that's the only thing. He's on a sliver, so he's just a one-shot. That's not a problem. But we're going to play it safe. We're going to come here and we're going to cap. And hopefully we're going to draw out the heavy tank too at the same time. Great. So LTTB gets taken down. So it's 3v1 right now. This should be a wrap, to be honest, as long as we don't do anything stupid. And hopefully we can draw the VK4502 out to engage us. Proto is still relatively full health. Who else is with us here? I can't see that tank, the medium tank. The Russian medium tank. Come on, Space. Who is this tank? Who is this tank? Doesn't matter. We'll find out later. Anyway, I didn't know where the VK is, so I decided to point my gun this way. I noticed that our T28 Proto is looking in the other direction. So I'm going to cover this side of the map. He can cover the other side of the map. And well, there it is. It's an STG. It is an STG, and he's relatively full health too. So we're in good shape. I think this is easy win right here. Although I would rather kill that guy instead of cupping it out here. So far we had a decent game, but again, we're top tier, right? We had 5 kills. It would be nice to get a top gun here. We'll see what happens. Finally, yeah, 4502A shows up. So we're going to try to charge him. We have enough time, I think, to take him out. So that's what we're going to do. There's still minute 50 left in the game. We're going to try to put a shell into him from here. But even with premium shells, from this angle, we can't pen this guy. Again, we probably, if we face him frontally, we probably wouldn't be able to pen that guy with our shells. Well, maybe bottom plate, but top plate, definitely not. Anyway, he's engaging our STG, so we're going to take advantage of that situation. So we're going to go behind him. We're going to put a shell into his turret because front plate, like I said, we probably won't be able to pen. And here I was just debating whether to wait for my top gun or whether I should go with my damaging hit, and I decided to go with the damaging hit. I don't know. If I waited, I could have probably gotten top gun, but I didn't, so it is what it is. Still relatively decent game in this tank. Nothing spectacular, but relatively decent. And I love that delay after victory banner shows up. That's so fantastic. It doesn't exist in the current game, unfortunately. It gives you a chance to send good game messages to your teammates. And I thought that delay was nice. I wish they can bring it back. Anyway, we finished with Class 1 Mastery. 4.1k damage, 1000 blocked at top tier. We finished on top of the leaderboard with 1679 base XP. We fired 17 shells, we had 14 direct hits and 13 penetrations. Anyway, let's skip to the second game of the evening. And in the second game, it's going to be an interesting one because in that game, I actually run into a couple of my subscribers. Ropey, Roaring Pigeons 72 was his previous game attack. Now he's Gator Unleashed. And Flight Monkey, another great player, he was on my team. So I couldn't disappoint these guys. I saw them on the team list early and I was like, I have to have a good game in order to hold my own, to give these guys a chance to win. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into this game. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go brawling. We're gonna go one lane, right? Because we're top tier in this matchup again, which is great. That's what you want to be in this thing, because if you're anything but top tier, you're gonna be in trouble, trust me. And you're gonna have to let your friendlies go forward so that you can play from behind as a support tank. And even if you play as a support tank, good luck penetrating anything, unless you're engaging medium tanks or light tanks. So maybe that's the right strategy. Go with your medium tanks and light tanks at that point, if you're like a mid tier or bottom tier in this tank. But in this situation, we are top tier, so we're going to go into the brawling alley. And we see our mutant coming with us. There's KV3, there's some armor here. So we might be able to hold this a little bit if we run into a lot of opposition. And trust me, we're going to run into tons of opposition over here. So first customer is dispersing. We're going to try to track him. That's kind of a lucky shot, to be honest, because I didn't aim it that well. It was pretty much a snapshot and we managed to put him in place at the same time. So we're going to draw some assisted damage out of that. And he doesn't have a repair kit for whatever reason. We take him out of the game. Now we're being flanked from this side already. Looks like the opposition team is pushing quite hard on this side of the map. So I decided we have to diversify here. I have to go one way or the other. I was gonna take a shot at this tiger, but here I knew that I have to start protecting the other flank, because if we stay here, we're in a crossfire. So we're gonna get ourselves in big trouble. So I'm gonna push here, even though I knew I was gonna take a hit. I was just hoping that I wasn't gonna take more than one hit. That's exactly what happened. But now I can get myself into position here, protecting this corridor, and we can engage these guys coming out of this alleyway. So KV85 pushes, I don't know why, and gets taken out. We're gonna have to engage dispersion now. So we're gonna push a little bit and make sure we just poke from behind that hill just slightly, so that he doesn't have a lot to shoot at when we poke out. And we're firing premium shells too, so we should be able to go through his top plate regardless, but we were aiming at the bottom plate. Now this guy is going to be a bigger challenge because he's got a big gun, but for whatever reason he decided to rush, and then he flips his tank. So I have to pay attention to the guy on the left, but I can pretty much farm this guy on the right, and we need to pretty much take him out of the game, because, you know, his gun is just too dangerous. He gets taken out. That was crazy. Now we have to focus this Dread Dozer, and hopefully, I was hoping I could pen him through the turret, but yeah, wishful thinking. 217mm of penetration, right? Never gonna happen. And he can pen me at will pretty much. See, that's what I'm saying with today's tanks. They're just so overpowered because of the penetration. So we're gonna have to shoot his Capola. We're gonna have to shoot a weak spot with the shitty gun, and luckily, we're able to pen the first one, but he pens us at will every time, just shooting at our hull. So we're gonna have to just try to hold him here and wait for him to overexpose. That's basically what I'm gonna try to do. I'm not gonna push forward. I'm just gonna sit here, and if I see his Capola pulling out, I'm just gonna aim it and put a shell into it. Just like that. So we put another hit into him for 387. Now he's a one hit to us as well. And at the same time, I'm checking my left-hand side to see what's going on there, because these guys could be pushing on me at this time. Now, that guy backed off on my right-hand side, so now I can engage the Tiger 2 on my left. And I thought he wasn't going to be looking at me, but he was. So unfortunately, we scuffed that shot. We were going after his turret cheek. But now we're going to reposition a little bit here. We're going to try to hit his bottom plate. Luckily, that goes in, but he hits us at the same time. So we're only at 207 HP. We still have bulk horror on our left side, so we know that we have some protection. I'm still worried about that guy on the right. Hopefully he's not going to come out, but I'm going to reposition anyway because I haven't seen him in a while. And to be honest, I didn't even pay attention as to where he was going on the map, so that's my bad. And we're going to put a shell into the Tiger 2 again with a snapshot again. I don't know how those shots are going in because that gun is not as good, to be honest, guys, but those shots are going in right now, so I'll take it. gonna try to put another hit into the top of his turret, and that goes in as well. So for now, the gun's been working fantastic on this tank. Usually it's not the case, and hopefully he's not going to be focusing us when we're trying to hit him. Next shot into the cupola doesn't work, unfortunately, so we're going to go back into cover. And now our friendlies are pushing up, and this guy, he's got no armor. He's going right in. Anyway, good push. We did find a shot at the end of the day into the top of the turret of Tiger 2. So we managed to take him out of the game for a very quick, action-packed game that I hope you guys enjoyed. It was, yeah, it was a fantastic game, to be honest. And I think Ropey and Flight of Monkey did a good job on the other flank. We managed to hold our flank, which was great. Anyway, we finished on top of the team with 1707 base XP, 3 kills, 4.3, almost 4.4k damage. We fired 17 shells, we had 16 direct hits and 13 penetrations, and the messages started coming in from our friends, which was great, fantastic. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your support, guys. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for now. Until next time, happy tanking, Space Bandit, checking out.